Okay. Illumination Station, session 1 tonight. The title of the session is Jesus is God's Promised Son. Jesus is God's Promised Son. The point we're trying to look at here is obviously
You need a book?
Jesus.
Yes, please.
Jesus is. Wait, did you not get one?
No,
Hang on.
What I was going to give you.
thank you anyway. Ma'am.
No writing in it. You got to return them.
Stop it, leave me alone.
Spotlight question for tonight is going to be, who is Jesus? And we'll get to that in a bit. A couple intro questions though. First is you speaking about yourself. What are your personality traits and how do these help or hinder you?
I'm definitely a type B. I'm very laid back. No stress. I get along with everybody. I'm not argumentative.
I'm not now, if my neck could turn all the way around, I would play both rounds.
How come nobody believes me?
Nobody believed you. No. Your actions speak louder. Seriously though, what are some of your personality traits?
I'm very opinionated. Yes.
Yes.
Does it help you or hinder you?
It depends on the audience, I think. I think as far as the business world, it helped me get ahead because I always had a plan.
Does it depend on the audience? Does it depend on the message? Whatever the opinion is.
In business, I'd say it depended on the audience because, the message was always a message, But as far as my personal life, I have to admit I'm wrong sometimes, and it's very tough to do.
Sometimes when we're talking, so I'll use myself as an example. I can tell Lynn good news or bad news, right? And the audience being Lynn, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
My opinion in general, I'm like Mark, opinionated, and she becomes used to it, and she would probably align with my opinion definitely more often than not. So if I say something, it's probably where she might have been thinking the same thing, but she just hadn't vocalized it yet.
Did you ever have this conversation? Like Denise will ask me, where do you want to go to eat? And I'll say, let's go for pizza. No, I don't want pizza. Okay, let's go for...
Denise, do you say that?
Let's go for steak. I don't want steak. Let's go for pasta. I don't want to go for pasta. Well, where do you want to go? I don't care. You pick.
I have the same conversation.
Same conversation.
What do you want? I don't know. It doesn't care. Well, how about this? No, I don't want that. Well, you just said it didn't matter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not that it ever goes the other way, because I'm very easygoing. I'll eat wherever she wants.
So I said I can pick something from anywhere.
I can't.
Yeah. We do have the same conversations at once. Who else? Lynn, what are your personality traits?
You're asking me?
I'm asking you.
Yeah. I am also opinionated.
No.
Strong-willed, I guess, but sensitive. Doesn't make any sense, but yeah.
How have those traits helped you or hurt you?
Well, I think mostly being strong-willed has helped me because I don't quit usually.
Yeah.
I just whatever, keep going. Even if I'm 10 years behind, I'm still going to keep going.
Sure.
So I'm strong-willed in that sense and doing what I had to, in life. But being opinionated hasn't always worked. Although I had a perfect job, I was an auditor and I wrote opinions and I didn't have to agree with anybody else's, so it was really good.
So again, depending on if you can channel your personality trait in the right direction, might be awesome.
So that's why I think my career was absolutely perfect for me.
Yeah, literally might be awesome. Like you, I would say strong-willed to the point of being obstinate or stubborn sometimes. I think as I've gotten older, I've gotten less like that. I'm still somewhat like that. What I would say is I tend to fall into the OCD, I guess it's not even just detailed, it's like more than that.
You need more than that for what you do.
Yes and no. Yes and no. So when I was starting in my career, super detailed. And when I would get my annual reviews, they would say, it's too much.
They did?
It's too much. To the point where you put a package together, whatever, and there's probably 25% extra information in there that maybe didn't need to go in the spec or on the drawing or whatever it is. And ultimately, time is money. It took me time to do that when I could have been doing something else. So it both helped me and hurt me, I would say. Not in a real negative light, but still, I could have been more proficient. I could have been doing other things. I could have been focused in a different direction. The other thing I was thinking about is if I'm so detailed, so strong-willed, again, in my job, the rule of thumb is, if I send the drawing package out finished, it's literally never finished. There's always something that is probably either not detailed enough or hasn't been interpreted correctly or whatever it is. No job goes out of the office complete.
Does it drive you crazy?
It used to. It used to. Now that I'm trying to delegate as much as I can, I have to hand it off to people who either don't have as much experience or maybe they're not as qualified. And there's a lady older than me. I've been working for her for 25 years. She's just like, we just got to hold our nose and send it out and know that it might stink, but it's the best we can do with the time and the information that we have available. So, but I would say in general, my personality traits have certainly helped me more than they've hurt me. It's when I take them to the extreme that they start to become a hindrance.
Yeah.
And I would say that's probably true for most of us. Yeah. If we take our personality traits and we send them all the way to the extreme amount, probably something that's is going to be harmful to us. Okay, you'll see where that comes in a little bit. The other introductory question that they had was, if you had to describe Jesus to somebody who's unfamiliar with him, only using a few words, how would you do it? If you had to describe Jesus to somebody who maybe didn't know him or didn't know him well, how would you describe him?
Life-changing. Jesus can change your life.
For sure. Who else?
Fully God, fully human,
Yep.
promised Messiah.
Claire, what do you think?
I was just gonna say, Jesus can save you.
Yeah, I mean, it would depend on the focus of what you want to tell them. I mean, if you only have a short window and they've never heard the gospel,
Right.
then you're going to try to fit in wherever you can so that they hear as much as possible.
Jesus is the answer.
Whatever we say is going to be accurate, right? It has to be accurate. Eddie, what do you think?
The same thing, but Jesus is wonderful.
But more like wonderful to the point of, I can almost not describe it.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Brings you peace and then. Oh, it's fun. I know that. No, it said that you say, how would you describe Jesus? And then I was reading that, because I haven't read all the Gospels yet, because I'm still in my Bible learning experience. It said that the Bible never describes how Jesus lived and everything.
No.
Because they say, because that's how they wanted it, because you wanted to see the actions and everything, how he was inside, instead of seeing how he looked outwardly. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
He was physically unremarkable at that time.
His appearance, genuinely average. Judy, what do you think? A few words.
At first I put God, perfect, unconditional love, unending. But I've had like 5 minutes with people as I'm working and they're not awake. And I put he loves you, I feel on the cross, he'll forgive you, just ask them to talk to him, even though they can't talk to me.
Right? What if I have, each of us should probably have, it might sound crude, but basically our Jesus elevator pitch. I've got interaction with somebody for maybe 30 seconds, standing in a line, and he comes up. What can I say? What can I say to somebody that may have impacted eternity? Can I describe him in such a way that he's either through my life, the way my lifestyle is, or through the things that I can say, he's found to be attractive. He's found to be, I'll do some more digging. I'll ask some more questions. I'll take it to the next step. Hopefully you've kind of got that in your back pocket. Okay, with that kind of as our introduction, let's go as a group to Matthew chapter 16. Matthew 16, and we'll look at verses 13 through 20. Matthew 16, verses 13 through 20. Does anybody care to read? That's great. If not, I'll go ahead and read.
I can do it if you want.
Sure thing. So Matthew 16, 13 to 20.
When Jesus came to the region of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, "Who do people say that the Son of Man is?" "Well," they replied, "some say John the Baptist, some say Elijah, others say Jeremiah or one of the prophets." Then he asked them, "But who do you say I am?" Simon Peter answered, "You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God." Jesus replied, "You are blessed, Simon, son of John, because my Father in heaven has revealed this to you. You did not learn this from any human being. Now I say to you that you are Peter, which means rock, and upon this rock I will build my church, and all the powers of hell will not conquer it. And I will give you the keys to the kingdom of heaven. Whatever you forbid on earth will be forbidden in heaven, and whatever you permit on earth will be permitted in heaven." Then he sternly warned the disciples not to tell anyone that he was the Messiah.
Okay. If we go back up to verse number 13, it says, when Jesus came to the region of Caesarea Philippi. Does anybody know anything about Caesarea Philippi? Does Mark have his phone out, already Googling?
I can Google.
No? So, this is a region that was in the northern part of Israel, probably what we would call Samaria. Kind of give you a visual understanding of where it's at. This area was it was I wouldn't say polluted, because that's not the right term.
It's an ancient Roman city located at the southwestern base of Mount Hermon in northern Israel, famously known in the Bible as the setting for Jesus' declaration to Peter, "On this rock I will build this church."
Okay, we just read that.
Yeah. Let's see what else it says. The city was originally called Panias by the Greeks in honor of the god Pan,
Yes?
Herod the Great built a temple to Augustus there. After his death, his son Philip made it his capital city, expanding the name, renaming it Caesarea to honor Caesar. It became known as Caesarea Philippi to distinguish it from the coastal city of Caesarea Maritima. It features the Benias Spring, one of the primary sources of the Jordan River.
Okay.
That's it.
You touched on one thing kind of in the middle of that narrative. It was home to many different religions. Pan was one. They actually had, to Mark's point, a temple where they worshipped Herod. They worshipped the Caesar, Jehovah. So it was a mix of all these different religions. And so when they get to this area, they're coming off of a period where they had been out doing ministry, and he asked them. So I guess the first question is, why did he lead with a question about what do the people think? Why would he do that? Who do people say the Son of Man is?
Probably because they all have different opinions in that area. If they worship different gods and stuff like that. So, like today, you ask that question and you get a million different opinions, answers.
Sure. Yeah, so he's basically wanting to know, again, because there's all these different religions. This is my understanding, the way I interpret it. Does he rise above the level of everybody else? Or is he mixed in with the Herod, the Pan, the Caesar, all these other, the Baals, the Ashtoreths, all those, or is he elevated above that?
Well, they didn't try to crucify anybody else. So I would say he was above that.
Certainly in Jerusalem, right? Okay, so then he follows up with something more personal. In the translation that I have, it says, well, what about you individually? Who do you say I am? That's pretty spot on, right? Like he's taking it from the large, and now he's refined the focus to this small group. Who do you say that I am? You. Isn't that something that we have to deal with today?
Yeah.
Like literally, like today. Isn't that like the number one question? How you answer that one question will change your eternity. One question. Who do you say Jesus is? That could be part of your elevator pitch.
Son of God.
If you found out that you had cancer today, who is Jesus? Can he make a difference?
I see their response. You were the Messiah. To me, the next question should be, do you know what that means? They're saying the words, you are the Messiah. To me, it's like, tell me what that means to you, that I'm the Messiah. Because I really don't think they fully had a grasp on what that meant until after the resurrection.
Right, not even the crucifixion.
Not even the crucifixion.
Because they were ready to go back and start going fishing again.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Agreed. So following up on that, why was it important for the disciples to know who he was what Messiah means and why is that important?
His job was to share it with other people so that other people would believe.
Right?
He spent 3.5 years teaching these guys, you know, and it's like a final exam question, you know. What does that mean, Messiah? You know?
Here's your little blue notebook.
Yeah.
Fill this thing up.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much what he's doing, right?
I spent all this time teaching you. Do you know what I've taught you?
Right? I've been taking the girls to practice volleyball. Not as part of the team, not as whatever. I said, Olivia, grab a friend. I'm married. We go to the gym. We go to the gym, we work out, we do some training, whatever. Before we leave, I ask them both every time, give me 3 things that you learned today. So I'm giving them feedback the whole time. What 3 things resonated with you so that when I leave and I come back the next time, you remember those 3 things and we can build on them. This to the extreme, right? Why was it important? I agree with you, Lynn. If these ultimately, Judas is out 11, but if those 12 are responsible for spreading the good news, now that's good news, right? If they're responsible for spreading the good news, but they don't really fully understand what the good news is, or what's good about the news, or what is the news, or who do you know? If they can't answer some of these basic questions, then I guess these 3 years are wasted then, right, Mark? It's just wasted. And the interesting thing is, you know, the people that he brought on board, they weren't from the temple. They weren't Pharisees. They didn't have all the training, but they had a heart for God, and they had a servant's heart, and were engaged in the ministry of reintroducing people to God, and in particular to Jesus. Why did it matter? Again, well, that's a question slightly different. Why did it matter that Jesus asked them this question there and not in Jerusalem? Who do the people say that I am? Who do the people say the Son of Man is? Interesting that he used that term too, the Son of Man.
To differentiate himself between all of those gods and one true God that needed to be talked about there.
Yeah, let's say there's a lot of gods there, that's what he wants.
It's going to be outreach, right? Outreach has to happen. It's going to happen here. And we need to be able to live our lives in such a way that we're distinguished from other people. I think it's Peter, 1 Peter. We're peculiar people, right? As believers, people should be able to see us and say, there's something different about Claire. She gets mad, but I never hear her swear. Right? Something as basic as that. Something as basic as that, where everybody else would swear. Why doesn't she? Perfect opportunity. Here's my elevator pitch. Right? I mean, it's something as simple as that, where you can go ahead and open a door and have a conversation with somebody.
I think that this was all timing. You know, if you look at what's going to be happening next, you know, I don't know if it's a month or weeks, but things just start happening faster. You know, you get like the transfiguration, they're heading to Jerusalem. He's going to start telling them that he's going to get crucified. You know what I mean? So it's preparation for what's coming in the next future a little bit ahead of them,
Mm.
you know, and it's, get your mind off the past, you know. Start thinking about this, I'm the Messiah and this is what's gonna happen, you know.
We need to get into the practical application of the 3 years of lessons,
Yeah,
right? Because, like you said, in days, weeks, probably no more than months, I'm not going to be around
I'm
here.
not gonna be around anymore.
And you're going to have to be the ones who answer these questions. And you're going to have to convince the people, with me not here. Right? It's pretty much the scenario that we're in. Right?
You know, I think one of the biggest things when you're teaching somebody is when you get them to the moment where it's, what do you think? Rather than you're telling them what to do, it's like, no, it's time for you to think on your own. And you sit back and you allow them to fail.
Right?
You know what I mean? It's part of the learning curve. You got to give them, you don't want to say enough rope to hang themselves, but if you're always there with the safety net, you know, they're never going to learn what to do if something goes wrong, you know.
How are they going to learn how to walk if they don't?
Exactly.
If the crutch is always there.
You know, so if something, you allow them to fail, then it's go, okay, how are we going to fix it? And you let them come up with a plan on how to fix it. And it's all part of the progressing to teaching somebody, you know.
That's why when he sent them out 2 by 2, scatter. You guys go out.
You go
guys
do
do
it,
ministry.
Yeah.
Come back and we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Right? Super important for them.
Yeah, meanwhile, he sat there in Starbucks and he just had his coffee. You wonder what did he do while they were gone? You know, it's.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure he had plenty to do.
He had plenty.
What does the title Son of Man, how does that reveal, or what does it reveal about his identity, I guess?
His relationship with humanity. You know, he's God and man. You know, he's the bridge between the two. You know? And it's, he didn't have to take on humanity. You know, that was just part of the plan.
Let's see here.
Wasn't that title used in the Old Testament? Son of Man?
Yeah.
So they would have had some idea of the meaning.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I was also thinking how maybe they did know, they did go to temple, and they did learn stuff, and I guess I think it happened after the resurrection, but I think he was trying to point to the stuff they already learned. Like they finally put Jesus in the place where the Old Testament mentions him all the time. They finally figured out that stuff, like in Isaiah, like, you know, and stuff like that. They realized he was the one that was whipped with the stripes. Like, I mean, that's probably a side note, if you will. I mean, ultimately, he wanted to teach them to share him and to know him. But I think he was also trying to say, I'm the one who's been coming. I'm the one you've been taught about.
Talking about Jesus, but in other things too. You study something, and you study it, and it's really not clicking. And then the light goes on, you have that aha moment. That's what it was all about. Finally, I understand. With Sophia this year, it was like her math. Like she was just like, this is absolutely insane. I'm never gonna have to use this one, right? I understand that, but you may never have to use this, but you may.
Mm-hmm.
So give it your best shot. And you know, they use the phone or the iPad or whatever as like group study now. Everybody gets on the thing and they're literally on there for hours, and this one talks and that one talks, whatever. I don't know how well that would work for me. But anyway, somebody would say something, you know, and then, oh, okay, and then 2 or 3 or whatever, and then boom, everybody understands after one person had this divine inspiration. And so it's the same thing with Jesus, right? If you have to your point, a general understanding, but not really that relationship. And
Like all the holidays, like what you're about to say, but like Passover and, all those things meant something about Jesus. Because then it all comes together at some point. And all of a sudden, it's like, look at that.
aha,
Like,
that's what he was talking about.
they'll see him in that Passover supper.
So very, we enjoy the
Yeah.
I guess I'll call it Passover. When we take communion, hopefully we appreciate what he's done for us. Right? You can only imagine with them if they literally were taking it with him.
I know,
Right?
like,
It doesn't get any better than that. And they had that opportunity for who knows how many times. I wanted to go, I did some research here, and was hoping that you would indulge me a little bit. I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got like 9 verses here. Individual verses, scripture verses that will point to the coming of Jesus, but then not just pointing to him, but the actual declaration of someone acknowledging Jesus as the actual promised Son of God. Is anybody willing to read? If yes, I'll give you a verse. If not, then I'll just read some of these. Judy? Okay. Genesis chapter 3 and verse number 15. Eddie, you want to read?
What was that?
2 Samuel 7. 2 Samuel chapter 7. But just verses 12 and 16. Mark's ready to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Mark first, then Denise, okay. Psalm 132.
The Psalm.
Psalms, yes, 132, verses 11 and 12.
What was the one for 2 Samuel again?
Yep, chapter 7.
132 you said, right?
Yes, sir. Chapter 7 in verses just 12 and then skip down to 16. Matthew chapter 3. Verses 16 and 17. And then I'll double dip there. Matthew 17 and verse 5. So Matthew chapter 3, 16, 17, and Matthew 17, verse 5. Claire, you want to read?
Sure.
Love that. John chapter 5, 25 through 27. And I'll get the last few. I'll be reading also from the book of John.
Can you show us what those are? I've written them down.
Yep. So the last few are John 10, 36 through 38. John 11, 25 through 27. And John 20, 30 and 31. Yep. Okay, Judy. Genesis 3:15.
and I will cause hostility between you and the woman, and between your offspring and her offspring. He will strike your head, and you will strike his heel.
First mention of, we're 3 chapters into the entirety of Scripture, and there's already a plan. Eddie, 2 Samuel chapter 7, verses 12 and 16.
When your days are over and you rest with your fathers, I will raise up your offspring to succeed you, who will come from your own body, and I will establish his kingdom. Your house and your kingdom will endure forever before me. The throne will be established forever.
Established forever. It's going to come from your flesh and blood. Okay? Psalms 132.
What verses?
Sorry, 11 and 12.
The Lord swore an oath to David with a promise he will never take back. I will place one of your descendants on your throne. If your descendants obey the terms of my covenant and the laws that I teach them, then your royal line will continue forever and ever.
That one was a little bit tenuous, I think. There were several who maybe strayed away, but ultimately the promise was fulfilled. Matthew chapter 3, verses 16 and 17.
As soon as Jesus was baptized, he went up and out of the water. And at that moment, heaven was opened. And he saw the Spirit of God descending like a dove and lighting on him. And a voice from heaven said, "This is my Son whom I love. With him I am well pleased."
God literally saying, "This is my Son." Okay, pretty definitive. And also Matthew 17, verse number 5.
While he was still speaking, a bright cloud enveloped them, and a voice from the cloud said, "This is my Son whom I love. With him I am well pleased. Listen to him."
Again, at the Transfiguration, "This is my Son whom I love." Pretty clear. John 5, verses 25 through 27.
And I assure you that the time is coming, indeed it's here now, when the dead will hear my voice, the voice of the Son of God, and those who listen will live. The Father has life in himself, and he has granted that same life-giving power to his Son, and he has given him authority to judge everyone, because he is the Son of Man.
He is the Son of Man. Again, declaring himself to be God. John 10, 36 through 38 says, "What about the one whom the Father set apart as his very own and sent into the world? Why then do you accuse me of blasphemy because I said, 'I am God's Son'? Do not believe me unless I do the works of my Father. But if I do them, even though you do not believe me, believe the works, that you may know and understand that the Father is in me and I in the Father." Pretty clear. John 11, 25 through 27 says, "Jesus said to her, 'I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live, even though they die. And whoever lives by believing in me will never die. Do you believe this?' 'Yes, Lord,' she replied. 'I believe that you are the Messiah, the Son of God, who is to come into the world.'" Okay. Lastly, John 20, verses 30 and 31. "Jesus performed many other signs in the presence of his disciples, which are not recorded in this book. But these are written that you may believe that Jesus is the Messiah, the Son of God, and that by believing you may have life in his name." Pretty explicit. There shouldn't be any vagueness or anywhere that's not clear. It is, Jesus is the Messiah. Jesus is the Son of God. There it is. Handwritten accounts. So, I gave you 9 verses that talked about it. I stopped there. There were probably, dozens more, and I just cherry picked those. But I think the point is clear. Jesus is the Son of God, and if there's this is like being on a razor's edge. You're on one side or the other, and how you answer, who do you say that I am, literally determines your destiny. Go ahead.
Their idea of who he was somebody that was going to come and get him out from under Roman oppression, who was going to reestablish Israel. And
well, that was Judas's problem, right?
Yeah.
When he wasn't doing that,
they had no concept that his kingdom was an eternal kingdom that had nothing to do with what was going on at the current time.
Right? Right? And because the Romans were so heavy-handed, brutal, heavy taxes, tons of laws, I can't deal with this anymore. It's just too much. It's too much. That's why they were looking for a political savior. Well, really what they needed was the spiritual savior. Something for today's, a message for today, for us for sure. Last thing here, and then we'll move on to the next section. When you look at your calendar, your finances, and your speech, who would they say Jesus is to you? Are there things in your life where people would say, yes, there's evidence. I can convict them on being a Christian. That was one of the things, they get Jesus on trial, and they witness after witness after witness keep on coming up, and there's nothing, there's no evidence, right? And they basically had to bring up a kangaroo court, phony charges to be able to convict them. So in your life, is there evidence where they would say, yeah, this person's definitely Christian?
There's a big part of my sports life that revolves around Wednesday nights and Sundays. We have, over the years, I have church, I can't do it. Or I'm not going to do it because of church. So if nothing else, they realize that for me, being in God's house is more important than being on a sports field or around a pool table or, things like that, because the world wants you to make that choice over and over again.
It's just this one time.
Yeah.
Just this one time, Mark. Can you do it?
Yeah.
And you do it the one time.
And that's the whole thing.
And the one time becomes 2, and 2 becomes 4, then 10. Then you're gone.
Then you're gone. And then it's like, she's leaving for church and I'm putting on my softball uniform and I'll see you after church. And
so then what happens to the marriage?
well,
There's a split, right?
There's fallout from all that, Or she'd leave for church, like when I was playing in Wednesday night tournaments, they actually would delay my starting time in the tournament to accommodate me going to Bible study. And that was for quite a while,
I was just going to say that. You make a stand and at first they'll mock you or it's just one time, all that stuff. But then after a while, they know better. They understand and they realize, all right, that's important to you.
And some of the other players weren't happy, but the guy that ran it used to say, Mark will be here after church.
Right.
So I would stay here till a little after 7:30, then I would head to Johnston for the pool tournament. And they would delay whatever match came up in the brackets. It doesn't start till Mark's here, So, which I think made an impact on other people because, it came up here and there in different conversations over the time, But
If you can maintain your testimony, to your point, Denise, when things are difficult, then they'll know you're committed. Then they'll know you mean business. The longer you say no, the easier it becomes, right? And then ultimately, they may choose not to include you. That's how I lost a lot of my friends because of that same thing. You guys are going out drinking? Yeah, I'm all set. They ask me half a dozen times, and then they just stop asking because they realize that I'm not going. And then we stop hanging around together because that's what they're interested in doing.
I got offered so much money to work Sundays, earlier in my career, and it's, guys to get mad at me. He called me in, I don't know, a half a dozen times, and I said, all sounds well and good, but I won't work Sundays. Everybody works Sundays for me. Finally we reached the point, and he says, you know what, I want you to work for me. He goes, I'll work all your Sundays. You know, so I think I worked one Sunday in 12 years for him because he was out of the country and I felt I owed him at least one.
Yeah.
You know, out of loyalty to him for everything he had done to me. But,
Mm.
you know, and that was 20% of my pay every Sunday I didn't work. You know, that's what they were willing to pay me to work a Sunday, you know.
What is it worth to you?
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, that's the question you have to answer.
Well, the whole thing is you've got to make that line in the sand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's got to be the line in the sand that you will not cross. You know, and it's part of life. Where do you want to be on Sunday? I belong here. I belong to be in God's house. You know, Sunday nights with the kids, it would have been so, when we used to have Sunday morning and Sunday night service. My kids grew up coming to Sunday night services. We used to have a bag full of coloring books and crayons and puzzles or whatever, so they'd have something to do while we were in church.
Right. Are you going to say something, Jason?
I was gonna, I can't remember what I was gonna say. Oh, the minute you say, yeah, it happens all the time. The minute somebody knows you're a Christian, they watch you like a hawk, because they wanna like
Catch
pin you down on something.
Yeah.
So, in that respect, you better stick to what is important to you,
Right.
you know, or to God, you know what I mean, not just to me, but you better live that life.
There's an accountability that goes
Yes.
along with it, right?
Yes.
If you're living your lifestyle correctly, there's an accountability of how.
And even I judge, if I see somebody who professes to be a Christian, and then you see them in their life, like on the fence or doing things that are just like, you're calling yourself a Christian, but you're still doing this, like, and then you know, you shouldn't judge them, but you do. It's just a natural thing. You know, it's like, are they really a Christian or aren't they a Christian?
And at what point do you step in and have to have conversation with them about?
Depends on how close you are to that person, but
Ultimately, I would say having the conviction of being concerned about them enough to say something, again, could change their destiny.
yeah.
It's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy, and I'm not saying that they might get offended and might not like what you have to hear.
Yes.
But what if they hear you and they change and they respond?
I had a guy in Woonsocket. I was working, and he was a recovering addict, and he had issues, and he was trying so hard to stay clean and come to work, and I was working with him. I was giving him more responsibility. 1 week he just disappeared. No calling, no nothing. He was just gone.
For a week.
So a few days. So after the third day, they came up and they said, as of the end of shift tonight, he's terminated. And I'm just sitting there and I'm going, he lives in Fairmount in Woonsocket, and it's, what am I going to do, God? You know what I mean? I spent all this time with him. So I said, you know what? I said, I'll be back in a little while. I started driving around Fairmount looking for him, taking the different streets because I knew where he lived, because I used to give him a ride home once in a while, making bigger circles, you know. So I was just about to give up. I said, I'm not going to find him. You know, I did my best, God, you know. And it was like, try this one more street, right? So I went one more street down, up, and over. There he was at a bus stop. He had just gotten off a bus station. He got picked up in a raid. He'd done nothing wrong. He had an old warrant. They picked him up and sent him to the ACI for 3 days. No phone calls or no nothing. So I found him, you know, I got him in my car and we pulled off into a side street and I said, what's going on? And he explained the whole thing to me, you know, and I called up Human Resources and got him his job back. But everybody in the company knew that God told me, to go out and look for him, and he was there. And it wasn't like he was there all day. It was like he got off the bus 10 minutes before I found him. You know what I mean? And it's like, I still get goosebumps talking about it because it's, how can you not know that God is real when it's not a coincidence. You know what I mean? It's God's divine.
Take the next left.
Yeah, and it's like.
Yeah, but I want to go right.
But never mind the next left. If I would have taken that left 10 minutes earlier, I would have
been there.
I would have missed him, you know. And it's God.
Divine appointments,
in it.
right?
And something like that, I went back and everybody in the company knew that God told me to do it. I made sure that they all knew it, you know. And
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you have that testimony, when you have that, this is what I'm going to do, this is why I'm going to do it, I think it can have a very profound impact on people. Whether they ultimately in front of you choose to respond to whatever.
It's a seed. It's a seed. It's in there doing something, you know.
It's sure. Let's see. Verses, the next section, verses 16 and 17. Let's see this. 16 and 17. Simon Peter answered, "You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God." And Jesus responded, Jesus responded, "Blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah, for this was not revealed to you by flesh and blood, but by my Father in heaven." How does Peter personally respond to the question of Jesus' identity, and what does Jesus have to say about it? Kind of reading into, we got these people around. Jesus asks the question, "Who do you say that I am?" Peter, now, the thing with the text is it doesn't tell you how long the silence is. Did it get to an awkward pause? And then he speaks? Is it as soon as Jesus finishes his question, Simon Peter's right there? Simon Peter's pretty bold, right? So, if he had the thought, it was immediately going to come out. So how long doesn't really say in the scripture, but it comes right away. Matter of factly almost. You're the Messiah. There's nothing, as we read from all the scriptures, it's just plain, it's evident. There's no question about it. And how does Jesus respond? If we infer into his response, you are blessed, but not just blessed. Take the left. Take the left, Pete. Take the left.
It's kind of passing the baton a little bit when you get into it. It's like preparing them for what's ahead. You know, God revealed this fact to you, and upon this fact, I will build my church. And it's
This is a pretty important conversation.
Yeah.
In the Gospels.
And I will give you the keys to heaven. You get into a statement like that, and it's like, you guys just aren't going to be flunkies hanging around. You guys got a job to do.
This statement is the beginning of the church, right? Mm-hmm. Literally the beginning of the church. It happened right there. Matthew chapter 16, verse 17. Bang. So again, it's important that he realizes where the message came from, right? This isn't, Simon down at the temple said, blah, blah, blah. No. This is the Father. Take the left. Take the left. Yeah, but I want to go right. Please just take the left. I have a divine appointment set there for you. Don't wait 5 minutes. Don't go right now. Wait a second, then take the left. Same thing here, right? Jesus is the Son of God. He is the Messiah. It's super important. And then, again, we've been talking about it a little bit. I mentioned it a few times. we have to come to that conclusion ourselves too, right? I have to be able to personally say, Jesus is the Son of God.
Mhm.
He is the Messiah. He is my only way to get into heaven, right? It's not Jesus plus if I get baptized, or Jesus plus if I say these, 2 Hail Marys and 3 Our Fathers. And no, it's Jesus. Full
What
stop.
always amazes me is I look back at almost 50 years ago, the first time that I said that.
Said what?
Jesus saved me. Jesus is the Son of God. I want him as my Savior. Come into my heart. And you look at what it meant 50 years ago in my life and what it means now. You know what I mean?
Can you imagine what your life would look like if you had never said those words?
I can't imagine where I'd be if I didn't, And,
You may not be alive right now.
No.
Literally.
Well, I just lost another friend this week, and I was thinking, there was 9 of us that grew up hanging around together.
How many have died so far? 3?
7.
7 out of 9.
There's like 7 out of 10. There's 3 of us left out of the original group. And the 3 of us that are left are the ones that got out of the Boston, got married. One's in Vermont. One has been married, just got married 50 years. All the ones that stayed in the bar, they were all gone. But I look at, when I first said, Jesus, you were the Son of God, did I really have a great understanding of what that meant compared to what you learn as your life as a Christian? It means so much more. It's so much deeper.
Yeah, it has an initial reaction,
Mm-hmm.
right? But then as you grow, I peel off a layer to the onion.
Mhm.
I never knew that before.
Yeah.
And I peel off another layer, and
Yeah.
another, and another. And I keep peeling, the onion never gets smaller.
So
Which is
Actually, the onion gets bigger instead of smaller.
Right?
Yeah.
What are you saying?
it's the most amazing thing about the Bible. I don't care how many times you read it, something is going to just speak to you.
I never recognize that, right? Every time we go through, particularly around Christmas time, we all know the Christmas story. What is new? What is fresh in the Christmas story? And have you heard something new? Every year, I read that before. I didn't pay attention to that. Nobody ever said that to me, or I never had considered that. Every year, without fail, it happens. And I go in with the same attitude. This again? How do we spend this differently? No, always something different, always something new. Just because of the way we live our lives and our experiences and the relationships that we have, and there's always something new and different to share. The follow-up they had in this part was, the question was really good, was why was it such a big deal back then that Peter said this in front of the group? It's out there. Why was it a big deal then, and is it a big deal now? What do you think, Judy?
I think that is the ultimate question. It's kind of what we're going to get judged on. Who do you say Jesus is? People walk around all the time and know Jesus was just a man. He was a good teacher. He was a preacher. He was, but he was the Son of God.
Right.
And if we don't answer that question correctly in our heart, we're not going to heaven. And to answer it then and answer it now, I think it's just a universal, timeless question.
As you were talking, in my mind, my initial reaction was, there's no partial credit to that question, right?
Yeah?
He either is the Son of God or he isn't. But as you kept on talking, my mind went to, this is Jesus. Unconditional love, a boundless grace, Will he give me time to be able to come to the conclusion? Will he lead me to the answer that he wants me to give? But he wants me to find the way, peel back the onion. Will he allow me? Will he give me enough grace to be able to go ahead and come to the answer? I thankfully had to peel away so many layers before my stubborn self got to the point where I realized I need Jesus in my life. The things that are happening in my life right now are not good. And if I continue down this road, I end up the 7 out of 10. This is where I'm going. This is not healthy for me. It's not healthy for my wife. It's not healthy at the time. This is not healthy for Rebecca. I'm fooling myself if I think that there's any other way that I can fix this, because I can't.
Well, that's the important thing right there. That statement you just made is, especially for somebody with your personality, I can't fix this without Jesus. You know, to make that confession in your life, you know, where you're actually giving up something that you've always wanted control of yourself. You know, to realize you need to give it away. That's a big step. That's a big step to make, you know, that, okay, Jesus, I need you to be in the driver's seat.
Right.
That's a scary thought, especially when you're raising a family, you know. But you look at this, you know, you look at this starting off, you know, halfway through 13. Who do people say the Son of Man is? Right? Now, just using that title is a part of his deity, the Son of Man, Son of God, Son of Man. And then he says, well, some say that John the Baptist, some say Elijah, others say Jeremiah or one of the other prophets. So they're giving all the things that the people were saying. And then he says, but who do you say that I am? And kicking it up to Messiah is what they need to do. They have to confess it, just like we had to confess it. Jesus is the Son of God. At this point, they're kicking him up from just being a regular prophet to giving him his place at the head of God's church.
As you're talking, the phrase, but you guys should know better. I've been teaching you, I've been leading you for 3 years. You guys have to know better.
You have to know who I am.
You have to.
Yeah.
Right? And maybe I still have a few things to teach you, and maybe, you know, you're a little bit slow to catch on to some of the things that I'm saying or whatever. But you guys, it's absolutely essential that you guys, without question, know I am the Messiah. I am the Son of God. Have to be able to answer that. If you can't answer that, he doesn't make any mistakes. All right, he picked the right 12. He picked the right 12.
The right 11.
Say it again.
The right 11.
Judas is out, but then the next
Yeah.
Still think you picked him.
Yeah, you picked it.
I feel like he sometimes, like, you wonder why Judas? Like, he knew Jesus was God. And he's God. He knew all that. But I think it all comes to that giving everyone that maximum chance.
And I think
Gotta have the grace.
you're absolutely right. He had to.
He took Judas and put him right in his, like
The inner circle.
sight. Yeah, he was right there in the inner circle, like he gave him that. And I sometimes wondering if people who die young, and I wonder, like I had a 101-year-old, like, is that about grace too? Like, or I don't know.
Judas is an example to us all. You know, God gives all the chances that we need to make the right choice. But no matter how many chances, there's always that one that will choose death over life.
That's right. Last question here. They had for us. Peter was impulsive and often made mistakes. We know that. Yet God chose to reveal this ultimate truth to him. Wasn't it John? Wasn't it James? Wasn't it any of the other guys? It was Peter. What does this teach us about the kind of people God uses?
Imperfect.
They kind of have a heart to realize they're wrong. Because they always came back and apologized. Could have never been wrong without realizing he was wrong and asked for forgiveness.
Jesus can even save thick-headed, stubborn people.
Anything?
His grace is for us all.
Yeah, because what he said. I second the motion.
All in favor? Aye.
Meeting
Well,
adjourned.
I'll be counseling for you who oppose later.
We'll be praying for you after, right? Ultimately, we're all disciples. We have to go out and we have to share the message too. Sometimes the opportunities, they come right to us, right? Other times, I'm just knocking on the door until my fingers bleed, right? And it's just, I remember, it's got to be more than, when did Passion of the Christ come out?
Oh,
Late 90s?
Yeah.
Oh, it was,
2000,
yeah, just before I moved back.
20, let's say 25 years ago, and we'll go with that.
Yeah.
Lynn would reach out to Karen Dorsey. Hey, we're gonna go, we've got Good Friday service. We'd love for you to be able to come with us. What do you think? No, whatever. Okay, fine, no problem, don't push.
2004.
yeah.
Came out 2004. Next year, same conversation. No. A third year, a fourth year, a fifth year. Eventually, she said yes. Eventually, yeah, all right, I'm gonna come. Let's see if I can get Mike, her husband, to come. Okay. She shows up. Over months, ultimately, gets saved. Now, she's going
Look
across
at
the world, literally to the other end of the other side of the globe. I need a little bit of time. I need a little bit of grace. I need to be able to find him on my terms. But when I do, I'm all in. I'm not just a little bit in. I'm going into the deep end, right? Because that's where true faith happens. That's where true life happens. It's not on the seashore. It's out in the boat, out in the water.
You know what kind of always amazes me is we get changed, but we're still us. Like, you know what I mean? Like for me personally, you know, I still have to fight the urge to do everything myself. You know, or to, like, you know what I mean? You still give God control, but he still,
I'm going to keep this a little bit for myself.
he still allows that part of you to be in you.
Yeah.
That makes you you. You know, and sometimes it's okay and sometimes it's not. But he doesn't just, it's probably my thorn in the flesh, but he doesn't just yank it out by the roots. He's
Totally like a robot, totally just reprogram
yeah,
and then
he still lets you to be you, and it's like that with everyone. You know, we're all saved, we're all part of his family, but we're all still us. You know, we didn't change into, you know.
with all my brokenness and my insincerities and my flaws and all that stuff, still there.
He still has to give mental health.
Yeah, mental health.
We talk about that all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
Here, we'll finish with this. 18, 19, and 20 says, and I tell you that you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church. I want to explain that so we understand that well. And the gates of Hades will not overcome it. I will give you the keys to the kingdom of heaven. Whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven. Whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. Then he ordered his disciples not to tell anyone that he was the Messiah. So something interesting to note here, when he says, you are Peter, the note is in the Greek, you are Peter, a stone. And on this rock, a foundation for a building. Peter, rock. keep that in mind as you read this. He's saying, so what rock is he talking about then? Because it's not Peter. What rock?
Himself, the cornerstone.
Who else? I'm not saying you're wrong. What rock? We're gonna build the church. We're gonna build it on the rock.
The rock of Jesus. You are the Messiah.
Message of salvation.
The testimony, right? That testimony that he is the Son of God, he is the Messiah. Everything in the church builds on that. If we don't have that, we can all go home. There's no purpose of having a church. It just becomes whatever, Rotary Club or whatever. That is the foundational thing. Literally, everything else is built off of that. Every single thing. And so, that is the rock. Peter's going to help lead the apostles, ultimately, and then the disciples, on building up the church. Now that's good news, spreading the good news around, making sure that people come to a salvation knowledge of who Jesus actually is. But it all starts with the foundation. If the foundation's no good, house falls into the ocean, falls down the hill, sinks into the ground, whatever. But if the foundation is solid, the house will stand, right? And that's how we need to take this. The other thing here I found so interesting, that just verse number 20. He did it again. He does this frequently. Then he ordered his disciples not to tell anybody that he was the Messiah. All right, guys, we got this. Don't tell anybody.
It's
But
our,
time out, Jesus. This is like the most important news in the history of the world.
it's our secret.
It's our secret.
Why do you think he did that? Because it didn't matter that even if he said it, they would just go around. Everybody kind of ignored that from Jesus and told anyway.
What? So why would he tell them that? Judy, I got to tell you this, but you can't tell anybody.
I hate that.
I don't think they truly had comprehended what it meant at that point.
Maybe not.
You know what I mean? I think it was part of the lessons for the weeks ahead. You know?
What's a Messiah supposed to do?
Yeah.
Kick the Romans out?
Where's your army?
Like legions of angels. Where are they?
Where are they? Yeah.
They're waiting.
If you're the Messiah, how can we go hungry some days?
I would say we're in Matthew 16. There's still 17 through 28 to go, right? It wasn't the right time.
Mm-hmm.
With him, time, we talked about, what happens if I show up I take the left.
Mm-hmm.
You told me to take the left, by night I take the left.
Yeah.
If I do that 10 minutes too early, never see it again. I don't make my divine appointment. And that's a simple example.
It is a simple, but it just goes to show that God can use each one of us for what he wants if we're open to.
Down to the minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, his
Yeah.
perfect timing.
Yeah, yeah. It was his perfect timing. Why did I leave work at that time to start with? You know?
Why did you leave half an hour later?
Yeah, it would have been gone, or half an hour earlier, you know? Why did I take those extra, you know, it's just, you think about the time involved.
Right?
You know, I was out there for probably 40 minutes looking, and it's like I was giving up. I was ready to go back to work, you know, and it's...
Isn't that just like God?
Mm-hmm.
So many opportunities where he could have said, this kid's a knucklehead, he'll never get it.
Mm-hmm. And who's
But
been...
what if? What could he do if he says yes?
Mm-hmm.
What could he do if I chip a little bit of this off and I sand that down and I clean him off and I get him a nice new set of clothes? Then what could he do? Right? That's pretty much what he's done with all of us.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take you out of the dirt. Let me clean you off here. Let me set you up right. Now you're a child of the king.
And whose benefit was that for, what he did for me? You know, did I benefit more than anybody else? You know,
I would say probably.
probably, you know, when you just think of it, why did he do it at that point in my life? You know, where he reached down and poked me in the ribs and said, come on, I got something for you to do.
Right?
You know, and you walk away and it's like,
So that spoke to you, but then you got back to the office, like you said,
Mhm.
and made sure everybody else knew.
but
And
it
then
was,
certainly the guy that got off the bus knew.
no, yeah. And then he knew that I saved his job. You know, it's, you know,
Don't talk to me about it, it's not a big deal.
it's not a big deal. That's just it. Just make sure you're at work tomorrow on time.
Gotta be there on time.
Yeah. You
Can
know,
we agree to that? You gotta be there on time. Yep, no problem. I'll be there half an hour early.
you know.
Right? Such a God thing. That's it for now. We'll close with that. Appreciate you all being here tonight. It's getting somewhat cooler in here. I would say we're probably down to like 80. I can't say it from here, but that's my guess. Here, let's close in prayer. Lord, we want to thank you for this evening. We want to thank you for the lessons that you've taught us. Lord, we're so thankful that you are the Son of God and that you have concern for each one of us individually, no matter where we are, no matter what we're doing. You have personal care for each one of us. The love and grace you share with each one of us, like we said earlier, is wonderful. But to the point where it's beyond what we can naturally comprehend. And so, Lord, we just want to give you the thanks and the praise, the honor and the glory for all of that, for who you are, for the position that you occupy as God. We are so thankful that we even know you. We also pray for our pastoral search committee, Lord, for the new shepherd that you have for this flock. I pray that you give the search committee the ability to seek out and find the person that you have planned to lead this congregation, Lord. And when he comes across their desk, that you would make him known to them, and then ultimately to us. We put all our trust in you, that you will bring him to